Hello, it's Oren Prunken, and today I want to talk about how you go and ask for the sale. And how you ask for the sale is, you ask for the sale, you say, would you like to buy this? And it's as simple as that. Here endeth the lesson. But it's not actually that easy, is it? Otherwise I wouldn't be getting asked this question multiple times. And the reason why I think a lot of people struggle with this is because they try some stuff out, they fail, and that leads to rejection, and everyone hates rejection. Now, rejection and the positivity around rejection is a really good thing, and it's not the basis of this episode, although I think if you can get rejected more and more, it makes selling far easier. But I'll get to talking about rejection a little bit later in this episode. But the thing is, you've been trying stuff out and getting rejected because you say, would you like to buy this? And usually the answer's no. Now, many moons ago, I used to do cold calling for charity. And it was a really tough gig, and a really tough sell as well. Basically, what I was told the training to do via the sales training, we actually did do a little bit of qualification, so I can't be too harsh. We usually qualified the person that we called just to make sure that they were the person in charge of the household. They were over 18, so you know they had capacity to pay, they had a credit card, and we wouldn't get into any legal trouble for taking donations off someone that was under 18. But that was really the extent of the training we got around qualifying prospects. And then basically once they were qualified, we went into a sales pitch. That was literally how it went, and the close rate for that was quite low, like really, really low, and it was a tough job, and most days I just dreaded going in there. But I did that job for a whole range of reasons, particularly around getting over rejection, and I well and truly got over rejection because of that, because we were getting rejected day in, day out, minute by minute. Although some people did donate, we got some successes. And the reason why people actually bought, quote unquote, bought the donation was because of the altruistic benefit they got from it. Now, when you're selling a donation, people do that, and in this case they were helping out young kids. But helping out young kids was not the motivation. The motivation was they were going to feel good about being altruistic. Now, every human being, every human action they take is selfish. Even though on the face of it, they're being altruistic, they are actually getting benefits out of that, which is selfish. And that's kind of a bit of a divergent topic that I don't want to go into too much here. But they still get something out of it, and that was the implied benefit. We didn't actually really sell that benefit, we just really sold that they were helping out young people, and it was up to them to go see that they had that benefit of being altruistic. Now, that's a really tough sell. I can think of many different ways that we could have gone about creating a much better offer than just relying solely on someone being altruistic. We could have bundled it with physical products. We could have done a whole bunch of things, but we didn't. And what that whole lesson made me realize was that the offer was just wrong. Now, I purchase offers from different places, and they are phenomenal. Like, for example, you see Hungry Jack's all the time. They do the $1 chips. I'm a big fan of that. I go in and buy $1 chips because it is such a deal. And not even a deal, a steal. I feel like I'm getting a steal from them. I also buy books where they're free, plus, but you just pay the shipping, and it's usually like $10 shipping. I'm like, I get a whole book that's worth $30 normally for, you know, $10, and I would have had to pay $40 to get that shipped out to me. I feel like I'm getting not only a deal, but a steal. And the real lesson here is the reason why you're not finding it easy to ask for the sale is because you are not building the foundation. You are not building all of the lead up to that question of asking for the sale. Because if you did, asking for the sale would be really, really easy for you and for them, and you wouldn't get rejected. Now, what you really need to do with this is go back to a quote that I came across in my journey after working for that charity doing cold calls, was by a gentleman named E. St. Elmo Lewis, and he came up with the acronym AIDA, A-I-D-A, which stands for Attention, Interest, Desire, and Action. Now, really what you want to be doing, so the action part is asking for the sale. Would you like to buy this? Really, really easy. That's the whole premise of this episode, the ask. But it really comes down to the desire, the D in that acronym, that really sets up the foundation for what you are doing. And it's usually the offer. And I've talked about this in previous episodes of how you go out and create a compelling an irresistible offer. And the offer, you need to be, and I've used the words here before, not only creating a deal, but a steal for the customer. I've talked about just previously $1 deals at Hungry Jack's. I talked about free books, you just pay the shipping. You really want to be creating so much value that that customer, as soon as you give them the offer and then ask them to buy it, that they think they are getting the world's best bargain. Now, for example, let's just pretend I say, I'm going to give you $100. All you need to do in return is give me $1. You give me $1 and I'm going to give you $100 in return. I'm 10xing the value you're getting. Every person will say yes to that deal. Although there's a caveat to that, because it sounds too good to be true. People will think that it's a scam, I'm trying to punk them, and so on. So there's some additional objections I need to get past in asking for that sale, because it's too good to be true. But let's just pretend I've already demonstrated to them and I've already solved those objections around it not being a scam, people trusting me that I'm actually going to deliver the $100 if they give me $1, and they're not on some reality TV show getting punked. That deal for most people, for the majority of people, is going to be a no-brainer yes. I'll give you $1 and $100 back. That's the kind of offer you want to be going out and creating. Something that is so good and so irresistible and compelling for your offer that people say yes when you go to the ask. So the desire. The other part of that desire is creating a story that illustrates what you are offering is the solution that is going to help them and addresses some of the other concerns and objections they may have. Things around, will the product work? Will the product work for them? How does it work? Do they have any things that are stopping them from going out and using that product to get this success? And stories are really, really good ways of going about doing that. So those two things, the desire part of your sales message is really going to be the setup for that ask. And once you've done that, that's going to get you past the majority of the rejection. Other ways that you can go about not being rejected beyond creating that desire through a story and an offer before the ask is going out and qualifying the people that you're talking to. And I talked about this a little bit earlier when I was talking about cold calling charities. It's going about qualifying people, making sure that they are the correct people you need to talk to. The other thing to help you eliminate rejection is going out and asking for permission at every waypoint throughout the sales process. So qualifying people is one of those ways, but also asking for permission as you go through the sales process. For example, before you even give someone an offer, asking permission, can I please tell you about the offer that I have, the product or the service or the solution that I have that will be able to help you with the goal that you have. So asking permission before you actually go and pitch the offer, and then once you pitch the offer, asking for permission for you to ask for the sale. That's going to lessen the rejection even more on top of the things I've already talked about, because you're asking permission before you go out and deliver it. Asking permission that one step beforehand is going to, by default, eliminate the chance of rejection, because you're not actually pitching anything to anyone for them to reject you. The other thing is doing trial closes. So trial closes are things that see if a prospect is ready to be sold and closed. For example, you could say, does this make sense to you? Do you understand this? Are you getting excited by this? All of these different questions ask the prospect to answer in a way that is either positive or negative, and that gives you small clues about where they're at or a thermometer about their buying temperature. So it gives you small clues before you even need to ask for permission to move into the next waypoint. So hopefully this episode, we've got to about 10 and a half minutes, 11 minutes now, gives you some ideas of how you can go about asking for the sale. And yes, it is as easy as asking for the sale, but it needs a whole bunch of foundational work leading up to that to make it far easier for you and far easier for them. So hopefully this is really useful for you. I'd love you to go and try out some of the concepts I've talked about here that I've discovered over my journey, and I'd love you to try it out, see what happens and to your results and your success rates, and then I'd love you to let me know, like always, how you go with this. And until we talk next time, hope this is super useful. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll talk soon. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening, and if you like what was on here and want more, please go to orenprunken.com.